Hey, very good day to everyone. Today we're going to talk about the new Singapore Depository Receipts that have just landed in SGX. It's something very exciting when SGX brings in these new SDRs for local investors. All right, so let's have a quick revision as to what Singapore Depository Receipts or SDRs are. So these are foreign exchange stocks that can be purchased in SGX. The prices and dividends are denominated in Singapore dollars. Dividends may arrive net of taxes a few days late, but they will arrive in your bank account in SGD, and the process is as passive as owning local stocks, right? And over the years, SGX has expanded the offering of these high-yield stocks for old school dividends investors. Of course, I'm creating this video so that I can tell you where to locate these high dividend companies. Okay, so let's jump in and talk about these new SDRs. Okay, and there are 3 from Hong Kong and 3 from Thailand. Okay, so Hong Kong is SMIC, JD.com, and PetrolChina. And from Thailand, your medical company Bangkok Dusit, Gulf Development, and CP Foods. All right, so these are the ticker symbols that you can find on SGX, and you can use the same ticker symbols in a traditional broker or even with a custodian broker. All right. So the first thing I do, all right, since I love dividends so much, is I would key in their original Yahoo Finance ticker symbols into a program I wrote in Python, and it will generate for me an estimate of the current yield of the company. And immediately, if you look at only the counters that give a higher yield than the STI ETF, you find that PetrolChina and CP Foods make the cut. All right, so these are the 2 companies that we will be looking at. All right, I'm not saying that you shouldn't pick the other stocks. The other stocks are probably for people who are growth-oriented investors. But for the general people that follow me, there's a tendency to really enjoy collecting dividend yields and not turning over the portfolio for a prolonged period of time, right? PetrolChina and CP Foods, they do add to the number of large blue chip-like counters that we can have, right, in SGX. Okay, so what happens if you buy these 2 stocks in equal shares? Well, for one thing, for the past 10 years, the performance is not particularly sexy, right, compared to our STI ETF. In fact, the annual returns is exactly the same. In fact, the number is so similar that I had to check my code to make sure that there's no error in my code. All right, so it's about 5% for the past 10 years. Okay, obviously, if you buy 2 stocks, it's riskier than buying an index, right? So the standard deviation is about 22, which is pretty ho-hum, right? It is what you normally expect to get when you invest in equities. Okay, the maximum drawdown of negative 46% means that you shouldn't buy the 2 of them in isolation. You should combine them with a portfolio of blue chip stocks. All right, so that sort of summarizes the performance of these 2 stocks. Okay, they are not very highly correlated with Singapore. There's a tendency to be correlation about 0.4 to 0.5, all right, which is sort of okay. All right. Okay, so let's dive into an individual counter one by one. So first we look at PetrolChina, and it is a state-owned Chinese oil and gas company. It explores, produces, refines, distributes petroleum and petrochemical products, right? The profit drivers obviously come from crude oil and natural gas prices, which means that it might go up when oil prices go up. If there's an escalation of tension in the Middle East, you can expect oil prices to go up. PetrolChina will benefit from it, all right? They also do better when refining margins get better, and if the local Chinese boost their domestic energy demand, right? Not sure whether that will happen given that China is on this drive to become more green. So pretty middle of the road kind of prospects moving forward. Okay, but what I love is that it pays dividends in July and October every year. Okay, and do note that July and October are months where local stocks have a tendency not to give very good payouts. All right, so that's something you want to think about, right? If you are a regular investor in Singapore, you know that the payout periods for the months of January, July, October, January, April, July, and October. Uh, these are the months that don't pay very well. And in particular, I'm always looking for something that pays in January because it's always tough for Chinese New Year if you don't have enough dividends to tide through the festivities, right? So dividends investors, financially independent people, we do have cash flow problems, right? Human beings. Okay. All right. Analysts are optimistic about PetrolChina, most calling it a buy, and yields are high at about 8%. Okay, but do expect declining earnings per share. Okay, declining earnings per share. So all this is built into the stock price. The 8% is not free. Okay, you do expect earnings not to do so well over the next 1 or 2 years. All right, so do be careful when you're looking at PetrolChina. Okay, all right. Let's look at CP Foods next. Yeah, it's actually called CPF, right? Yeah, but this CPF can't guarantee a 4% return. Okay. All right. Charoen Pork Fun Foods is a vertically integrated agro-industrial and food company. Okay. So imagine this: you got a company, it produces animal feed, it then uses this animal feed to feed livestock and fishes. It then processes these meat and seafood for global distribution. So it is really an agro-industrial kind of company, end-to-end, vertically integrated conglomerate, which I think we don't have in Singapore, right? We don't have this among blue chip stocks in Singapore. So it does well when meat prices rise. It also does well when raw materials fall. Okay, so different way of betting on the blue chip. And it pays dividends in May and September every year. And it's projected to yield about 4.9%. It's not exactly 5%, but it's definitely something that you can consider because it's so different from the typical kind of dividend stocks that we have in Singapore. Okay. Analysts are mixed between a buy and a hold, so it's not exactly a straightforward kind of decision for CP Foods. So you need to be a little bit careful. And also, the dividend stability is moderated by earnings contraction. Okay, so yeah, so this is a middle of the road kind of blue chip. Okay, it's denominated. Obviously, it's in Singapore dollars here, but it's a Thai company. Okay. All right. So we've drilled in for a very short briefing on these new SDRs. Okay. And all I have to say is that these new SDRs continue to deliver diversification for dividends investors here. It's something to celebrate about. Okay. And I'm not paid by SGX to say these things, but I'm really glad that actually for the past 1 year, local dividends investors now have a much larger choice. All right. And now our SDRs cover more than half of the blue chip stocks in Hong Kong and Thailand. So we are slowly becoming some kind of Asian kind of exchange. Yeah, if only SGX could reach over to Malaysia and Indonesia and convince them to put 1 or 2 of their blue chips here, right? That would be very cool, right? And so now we can invest in blue chips that deal with oil and meat, okay? And I'm definitely looking forward to picking up some PetrolChina for my own portfolio to diversify from PTTEP. PTTEP is a Thai oil and gas company. It is less liquid on the SGX. So if I combine PetrolChina with PTTEP, I think I'm good. Right? Okay, and I will also be monitoring CP Foods closely. If there's any further weakness in prices, I might swoop in to take up a small position in CP Foods. All right. And that's all I have. Okay, I'd like to thank the people who follow my video channel. Thank you for your support. We've reached 1,000 subscribers. And just to let you know, this is a single person effort. I have no sponsors. I do everything on my own. And for a while, I've been fiddling with the software. I couldn't get the sound and the video to work properly. Okay, so thank you very much. I have a long way to go to meet the threshold for the number of watch hours before I could monetize my channel. So please forward my channel to your pals. I will be creating longer mini courses, right? I'm planning one on the FIRE movement. I might also be planning one on just an introduction to our local stock market, right? So hopefully I'm working to get them beyond the 1 hour threshold so that folks will at least try to watch, an hour and we can increase the number of watch hours exponentially, right, over the next few months. Okay. Okay, and how do you help me? If you like my content, you can subscribe to my channel, as I've said just now. You can buy me a coffee by clicking on to this link. If you want to listen to my life story and figure out how the financial independence and retire early movement works, sign up for my course preview on the link here. Alternatively, you can Google ERM intro and you can take the first link. And with that, that's all. I'm taking a short little break to celebrate the 1,000 subscribers. I will see you over the weekend, hopefully with something that is very engaging, okay, and hopefully not too triggering. Okay, thank you very much, and I'll see you soon.